Happy Monday, happy Labor Day. And depending on what country you might be joining me from, it is spelled two ways, like many things in life. Up here in Canada, it is Labor Day, Labour. In the US, it's Labor Day, Labor, of course. And either way, it's a long weekend here in North America. Today is also 20% off site wide with Life Pro. So I want to talk about a few deals. And as always, I've got some time for questions and answers. And today I thought I would leave that open because there's so many darn products that Life Pro's coming out with. You probably have a few questions of your own. If you are joining me today, thank you. I see I do have some folks popping in here. Sorry, I was a couple minutes late. I had a little power flicker. We've got a bit of a storm here today, of course, reset my internet. So if you are with me today and you can see and hear me, please just let me know that's the case. I'm going to flip over quick here to Facebook. Pretty sure we are going. I am very sore. I did a lot of activity this weekend in the garden. It's that time of year where it's do or die time. So I did a lot of labor in the garden. Get it? But Labor Day does have some roots in both Canada and the US. I found it funny. Roseanne did some good facts this morning with her Labor Day workout this morning. USA and Canada, it's always the first Monday of every September. Labor Day is an annual celebration of the social and economic achievements of workers. Holiday is rooted late in the 19th century when labor activists pushed for a federal holiday to recognize the many contributions workers have made to America's strength, prosperity, and well-being. The funny part was looking into the history. In the US, the roots of Labor Day actually grew out of violent clashes between labor and police during the Haymarket riot in 1886, when thousands of workers in Chicago at that time took to the streets to demand an 8-hour workday. We should have gone for 4, but double the pay. But hindsight's always 2020. Up here in Canada, similar roots. In Canada, it began with a protest when over 10,000 workers marching in solidarity with the striking Toronto Typographical Union. For more than 150 years, Canada's labor movement has been fighting for safer, fairer work. So if you work hard, a lot of times when you think about labor, we think physical labor, but many of you nowadays have a lot of mental labor in your 9 to 5, in your home life. So today we're going to talk a little bit about mental and physical health and some great tools to help you get rid of or start your workday. We're going to do a short little workout today. If you work hard mentally or physically, use your Life Pro stuff every day, people. There's no reason. One of the things I want to point out before I get into the routine that many of us, I work in a very manual labor, lots of rig, lots of construction, pipeline work area, lots of farmers. And, both my men and my women that work physically hard, the last thing you feel like doing after a physical day is more physical. So I used to run into the studio, folks that are trying to lose weight or they're dealing with aches and pains. And it just seems crazy that a workout, when you're physical all day, might be the trick. But when you're physical all day, your body is kind of used to it. It knows how many calories to put into that bank every day for the metabolism. And your body to a degree becomes conditioned. It's about burning calories or adjusting the diet above and beyond what your body requires throughout its physical day. And usually the easiest way, if you are physical throughout your day, is taking a look at the food piece. What I want to talk today about is some morning and after work tips. So let's forget the workout. You have a mental day, you have a physical day. There's a lot of ways that you can use your vibration plate in the morning as a complement to get your day perked up and going, just as good as coffee. And there's also some things that you can do after work. So if you are joining me today, we are going to head over to our plate. We're going to start seated on a stool, and we are going to progress to standing for those of you that are able. I've also got something else set up here when I get to my recommendation parts. So for today, we are going to start with what I'm going to show you here today can be either morning or after work tips. In the morning, you might want to warm up to reduce injury, boost flexibility and mobility, improve that range of motion. Just get the blood flowing, oxygenate the cells. It's going to stimulate your lymphatic system, especially if it's sluggish. You've been sleeping all night. It's going to help you improve your energy, mental clarity. And if, again, the goal is weight loss, my best morning tip that I can give you before your workday is to throw in some squats or some lunges or something that's going to fire up those legs. If you can get those legs boosted early in the day, whatever your morning is, it's going to help elevate that metabolism. So the idle calories, what your body's using throughout the course of the day, is going to raise slightly. So that's a really easy tip if you don't want to do a lot of working out. I want to make sure that you can see me on camera. I'm going over to the machine. I don't think it's cutting my head off. I got one more light here. So I'm going to go through my little routine here, and what I would like to do, whether it is a vibration machine, whether it is a sauna, whether it is a massage gun, it is an open Q&A at the end of today's session. So get your questions ready. And as I said, if you are joining me today, let me know. Feel free to ask your questions. Hang on, I got all these solicitations in here. Hang on a second. And of course, it is 20% off site-wide today. I'm going to drop my link. Today, I'm working out on the Rumblex 4D Plus, my favorite plate for a dedicated space. I say that because, hello, Miss Kim. Some of you are working with a dedicated space. Some of you are not. And probably the number one question I get about vibration plates, whether it's for your work or not, is what is the best plate for blank? What is the best plate for blank? What is the best plate for blank? There is no such thing as a best plate for any one condition or fitness goal. Just like there is no best car or truck for every person. A lot of, personal choice comes into it, budget. With a vibration plate, I want you thinking about, where are you going to be using it? Do you plan to be moving it around? Are you going to be just doing some feel good and some self-care and managing symptoms? Or do you plan on actually working out on it? So today is more on the feel good realm. This is think of it as a warm-up, whether it's a warm-up for going to the gym or a class maybe. We're going to use this as a warm-up to start your day. This is the best way to start with your coffee. For many of you, you spend too much time sitting. So we're kind of with this position, starting without a lot of body weight, getting some lymph going and some circulation. I get a lot of tension in the neck and the shoulders. I spend too much time like this on the computer and lifting and running after my children. So I like to place my elbows on my knees. My feet are about hip width apart. I'm working with a mid-speed range. Many of you think start slow, go slow. I prefer a mid-speed in complement with a closer foot placement. This is not about kicking your butt or destabilizing you. This is about getting some circulation, some lymph, maybe getting rid of what the sleep the night before has left on you. I'm sort of positioning my shoulders just over my knees, and you can see the movement. If you want more action, you can go wider. How much tolerance you can take and how wide or close your foot position is going to vary based on the position itself. You personally, your tolerances and what you're dealing with. I personally find too wide a little too uncomfortable. It's a little bit harder on the knees and the hips. So if you are dealing with joint pain of any kind, you do not walk across the floor with your feet wider than your hips. So that's a good position as far as being max width for those of you that are dealing with any knee, hip, or ankle issues, no more than hip width apart. So the next position we're going to move into is a pelvic tilt. And a pelvic tilt is a really great way to just get things in this general area loose, start building some mobility. If you spend a lot of time standing or lifting things in your day, this area takes a brunt. And instead of having tension build up throughout the course of the day, give your body a bit of a head start. You could do little hulas, Whatever you want to do to get some movement going in this region and just loosen things up. This is also going to help the ankles, the knees, the hips, the back. Because I spend so much time using my upper body for various things throughout the course of the day, I want to add some torso twists. And I'm just going to slightly, if your goal is lymph, I don't care what you're doing, just get some movement going in those arms. The more you move, the more lymph moves. Okay, so I like to do, while you're doing your tilts, or if you want to do some turns, depends on how comfortable you feel on the platform. Just get some upper body going. You can just stand there. You're getting some action, some circulation, but I find it gets a little boring. For those of you that are familiar with manual lymphatic massage, if you do those types of exercises, there's lots of ways that you can do your manual massage while you're standing on your plate if you have sluggish lymph, or it's something you're doing anyways. The goal is 3 to 5 minutes before you're heading out the door. This isn't meant to be a long routine. So the next one I want to work on, if range of motion allows. If it does not, or if you're not so stable, I want you hanging onto a stool or a chair. Perhaps you could put this in front of you. But what I want you doing is, as far as you can go, this isn't about bending the knees and looking like you can touch your toes. I just want you, the knees are slightly undone, just going to about a 90-degree angle. If you're comfortable going further, you can lock the legs for just a minute or two. You feel the stretch a little better. Okay, hold. And then I want you to slowly roll up, like each vertebrae is doing a click. Knees are bent again once you're standing. If you lock your knees, it's all going up to the head like a pendulum. So bend the knees, okay? And we're going to do 2 to 3 reps of that one. So we're going to go down for 2 to 3 seconds. If you do have a troublesome back and holding this position is uncomfortable, just keep the movement going. Go to the toes. Lock those legs up for a second. Even if you can't quite reach, you're going to feel that really nice movement in the low back and the hips. And then again, like each vertebrae is being clicked. Stand up and those knees are slightly bent. You should be feeling looser already. Earlier, I mentioned for those of you that are looking to lose some weight, but you're physical all day long, you can't imagine being more physical. The coolest way that you can use your machine before you get into your labor-intensive day is a couple of squats. Just hold still, especially if you have joint issues. Moving up and down is sometimes the issue with joint issues. And the beauty of a plate is you can work those muscles very effectively with all these micro movements without moving the joints. So push those muscles to a level of fatigue. Go as deep as your range of motion allows and just hold until you can't hold no more. Do 2 to 3 reps of that. Just get those legs fired up. It's going to warm up your muscles to reduce injury before you do get to work. If you spend a lot of time sitting, it's going to get things moving. It's going to help with the strength. As I said, it's going to boost the metabolism. If you are dealing with pain and swelling below the legs, I think you'll find a little bit of time on the machine. Even the squats are also going to help with some range of motion, mobility, stamina, those types of things throughout the course of the day. Okay, so the last one is going to be a seated on the machine exercise. Well, it's not really an exercise, it's a feel good. I just want to recap quickly, and each of these you're going to be doing 30 seconds to a minute at a mid to high speed range. I do not want your feet more than hip width apart. If that's too much action, you are always in control. I always do my sessions in oscillating. It is the foundational movement of vibration plates. It is the most natural movement. It mimics how we walk. It's about functional training. So feet are hip width apart. The first variation, we just started seated, and then I added my elbows. Keep those shoulders and those elbows right above the knees. Roll your shoulders. It just adds a little bit more upper body to the equation. The next one was a pelvic tilt or hulas, whatever you want to do. I just want to get some looseness and some movement going in this region. By going from sitting to standing, we're going from a little bit of weight to weight bearing. There's always a bazillion questions about how do I improve my bone density? What setting do I use for bone density? What machine is the best for bone density? All no such answers. Bone density is about bearing your weight. If you want to accelerate weight loss and really push the bones, by getting into an athletic position, a little bit of a squat, it's forcing those muscles to become more part of the equation. It's pulling on those bones. We all talk about bone density or thickness of our bones, but we don't talk about the pliability or the flexibility. And doing physical exercises where those muscles are pulling on the bones is also a very important part of the equation, okay? The next one, knees were bent. We did some torso twists with whatever arm movement feels good for you. I just want your arms moving if you feel stable, okay? 30 seconds to a minute on each of these. The next one was a toe touch. Yes, you can lock your legs for a minute if you like. I don't like putting a number on it, but while you're down like this, feel free to lock your legs for a bit just to get that good stretch. We're going to hold. If you're able to go all the way down, go for it. And then we're slowly just going to roll back up like each vertebrae is clicking. 2 to 3 reps on that, depending on how long. So for the last exercise, we are going to sit down on the ground like this. Notice the controls are in front of me. I prefer sitting like this, because I usually like to turn it up a little bit. When you're sitting on the machine doing massage positions, you're not really like doing a squat, or your structure isn't required to physically balance you on this. This is just lazy feel-good stuff. And for most of us ladies, we have a little bit of extra padding in these areas. So you can usually tolerate a bit of a higher speed. This is a great way to just get right into the hips and the low back a little bit more directly. If you're dealing with skin tone issue, sciatic tightness in the hamstrings, if range of motion allows, this is just a really feel-good variation. I like to get a little upper body going as well. While I'm seated, I'm taking my hands, palm down, and I'm tucking them just under my butt cheek at the top of my thigh. So my palms are slightly, I'm sitting on them, but not on my butt, under my butt. And my elbows are bent. Your arms are longer than your torso, so you won't be locking up the legs or the arms on this. Oh. I talked for 10 minutes. On this one, if you're finding or you're sensitive to the head vibration and you want to reduce it, just lean forward slightly. Pretty much anyone can do this. You can also lean back a little bit, but you don't feel it as much in the upper body. I prefer sitting forward. I'm going too slow now. And on this one, a mid, even a higher speed is going to be more comfortable. Whatever speed you like, whatever program you might be using, don't get so hung up on the speeds, guys. What feels good to you? Are you just doing feel-good stuff, or are you doing fitness? You know whether you're working or not. You know whether you're fatigued or not. Whatever speed range you are using, my recommendation is a mid to high speed, especially with closer feet if you're dealing with chronic issues or pain. But it's important to mix up the speed if you're using it regularly, every week or every other week. The body gets used to anything after a period of time, and it's important to mix things up to keep the challenges and those changes moving forward. The last little variation while you're doing this one, pull the toes towards you and reach for the toes. This is a great way to stretch the hamstrings, the calves. And while you're sitting, just like when you're standing, if your feet are closer, you're not moving as much. If you want more action, widen up like a V. And you can do side to side. Do whatever feels natural. I want you guys to experiment. You know what your day leaves on your body at the end of the day. So, do what feels good to you. You only need 30 seconds to a minute for each of these positions. You'll notice I have something beside me. I've been playing with PEMF mats all week. It's kind of my new obsession. And the best way to wind down after work, so everything we've been showing you right now has been, assumed we're getting going to the office. You can do any of these one positions. If you did all of them for 30 seconds, you're looking 2.5 to 3 minutes by the time you're done. It'll be well worth the investment of time in getting into that habit. After work, you can do any of these exact same positions to get rid of your day. So whatever your day builds up and leaves on your muscles and your mental at the end of the day, any of these positions are going to help as well. What I also recommend adding, because we are getting into that time of year, it is fall, it's starting to feel cooler here. A sauna is a really great way to relax, but more so at the end of the day. So whether it's a sauna bag, the PEMF mats, or anything massage, whether it's a massage gun, the compressions, any of the foot massagers. If you have these self-care tools now, get yourself into a routine, especially if you're finding, you have chronic issues that are developing, low back pain, poor circulation, neuropathy, no sleep, no energy, whatever it may be. You do not necessarily need to do a big workout. Start using some of these tools that you have, but the big message is using them consistently. In a perfect world, if you did everything that Debbie told you, you would do 3 to 5 minutes in the morning before you go to the office or the job site. You would also do 3 to 5 minutes at the end of your day. Some of these are also great, and I keep them short for this reason as well, is prior to bed for those of you that have restless leg, just poor sleep. If you don't have good rest, that is when our body puts all the work that you've done throughout the course of the day to work. That's when it's done. It's when it's doing its recovery and its repair. So it's really important, if your day is affecting you physically or mentally and affecting your sleep, maybe it's just 3 to 5 minutes, maybe a half hour before you go to bed to help the body shut things down. Maybe it's a half hour on your PEMF mat or your infrazen or your sauna bag or your dome sauna to force you to relax. Find a way, guys. The tools are out there, but I can't make you do these things. Just wait. I have more brilliant notes. I think I have more after work tips. So just to recap a little bit, why would I do this in the morning, Debbie? Well, it's going to help reduce injury. It's going to help boost your flexibility, your mobility. I keep hitting the table with my feet and mumping the camera. It's going to increase your blood flow, your oxygen levels. It's going to oxygenate the cells. It's going to stimulate the lymphatic system. We are getting into flu and cold season. So anything you can do to help with your immune, get things moving, help detox, all of that good stuff. It's going to improve your energy and your mental clarity. So whether you're working a physical job or not, those are both critical factors. Believe it or not, even though you're not, being inactive is just as bad as being overactive, throughout your 9 to 5. So, and again, if it's for weight loss, do what you can to fire those legs up in the morning with some squats. You don't have to do a whole big workout. We beat ourselves up. Oh, I got to do my workout. Oh, I got to starve myself. Oh, I got to go to the gym. Whatever excuse you're using, you don't have an excuse anymore. 3 to 5 minutes in the morning, get on it and just stick with the habit. I'm being blinded. I just have to kill one light here. There. All right. After work tips. Why would I do these things after work? Well, for recovery, to relax tension, reduce pain, swelling, reduce stress levels. Again, whether you're physical or mental in your 9 to 5, stress levels are typically up by the time you get home. And maybe you're stressed coming home because of all the things you've got to do there. Stress doesn't escape anyone. And it's going to help get the mind away from work. So if you do bring a lot of stuff home, expelling some physical energy, and distracting yourself a little bit is a good way to separate yourself mentally. As a workout where you're short on time, maybe you've got the best of intentions, but it's that time of year where kids are getting back to school for many of us, and the routines are just all over the place. So, feel free to, like I say, to add some squats to your after work session, just because it feels good and you want to exercise. And again, improve that sleep. If you're dealing with restless leg, the mind's going 100 miles an hour, you move every 3 minutes because everything's so sore and tense. You try your machine maybe a half hour before bed. Don't do a big old workout. Some of my clients do too much, and then you're all exhilarated and worked up and you can't sleep for different reasons. But it is a great way to improve the sleep regularly. And I'm going to post these exercises in the chat window for those of you that I know are going to start this all regularly tomorrow. Many of you are probably doing versions of this now. Again, it's not always about a big routine. A lot of times it's just about consistently getting into the habit of doing something regularly. So for those of you that I haven't talked to sleep, we're going to move on now to the Q&A portion of the routine, because I know you are all using your new stuff regularly that you've gotten during the Labor Day sale. Maybe you've ordered something. Maybe you're considering ordering something, and there's just so much choice nowadays with Life Pro. Sometimes it's hard to figure out what I may or may not need. So hello to Miss Kim from Campbell River. I hope you're having a good holiday Monday. As I said, it's Labor Day in both Canada and the States. We just spell it differently. That's a joke in my group with some of the conditions because they have to spell them differently too. If you do have any questions about any of your Life Pro tools, self-care tools, whatever it is that you refer to them as, now is the time to ask. If you are watching this on a recorded basis, and you did have a question that you wanted to ask, but we're out enjoying your long weekend today. Any questions you may have for today's or any sessions that we do here at Life Pro, tag me at Debby with a Y, and I'll be happy to answer that after the fact. Again, it's 20% off site-wide in the USA today. There are some deals on Amazon as well, and there are some restrictions, some exclusions on the page, so pay attention to the fine print, but it's a pretty good deal. Make sure that if you are purchasing, before you throw everything that came with it in the garbage, register your warranty card, and there's always new sessions every week. Today, I wanted to invite you to get back not only into habit and routine, but if you haven't been using your machine before or after your work day, there's lots of ways that you can incorporate it in to keep symptoms at bay if that's what you're dealing with, so things don't build throughout the course of the day, but hopefully improve your function, your stamina, and your mental clarity throughout the course of your workday. If there are no questions, then you guys are all just completely brilliant and you know everything already, and you already know what you're doing because you're doing it regularly. Consistency really is the key. A lot of the questions I get in my groups and sometimes through lives here on Facebook, we sometimes refer to them as common questions, but common questions are little clues that tell me, maybe you're not using it regularly. If you are using your vibration plate regularly, there's common newbie things that you may or may not be aware of, things like being itchy, being energized. There's all kinds of things that happen short term when you first get started. And if you've had a plate for a very, very long time and you ask me, why am I itchy when I use my plate? That tells me you may not be using it consistently. Things like itchiness, being the energizer bunny, many of those things within a week or two tend to level out, and the itchiness dissipates almost completely after a couple of weeks for most people. So if you are derailed a bit due to summer, it is that time of year where we're busy doing other things and other activities outdoors. It is timely to maybe review some of the getting started videos that myself, Roseanne, and Amber have done. If you haven't used your plate in some time, please graduate back into it. Don't pick up right where you left off at your full 15, 20 minutes. You will pay the price. And if you're still active outdoors and doing other seasonal activities, any of the exercises I walked you through today are not only good before or after work, but they may be a great way to get into or out of the yard and those seasonal tasks that I know many of you are performing this time of year. Well, thank you everyone for joining me today. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your long weekend, and I look forward to seeing you next Monday, same time, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a great short week, and for those of you that are returning to school, welcome back to the routine. I probably will be doing some back to school routine. I've had some questions about kids again. Any of the stuff that I've done today is just as good for your kids before they head to school. That's their work. Do you realize that a kid loses like 60 to 70% of their flexibility by age 6? Why? Because they're institutionalized in a desk for 7 to 8 hour days, like many of us are. So, we start that desk jockey career very early on, and there's nothing wrong with getting your kids into the habit of being active or using the plate as that activity before they head out the door to give them a better day and prepare their body for whatever may be presented. Have a great rest of the day, everybody. Thank you very much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you next Monday. Don't work too hard. Happy Labor Day, everybody.